Welcome to All About The Gers. Brought to you by our sponsors. The JR Group. Plugged In Business Solutions. DB Dental Care. Reflex Blue. The Right Software. Dev Provider. And Avia Signs. Our chosen charity partner is the Second Chance Project. We are now official agents for the Rangers Lotto. Find out more at www.allaboutthegers.co.uk.
Hello and welcome to All About The Gers. Myself, Ricki, Neill. Once again, a big thank you to all our sponsors, and we're finally back after a few weeks off with international break and illnesses, and it's good to have you back.
I've been searching high and low. I found Charlie, couldn't find you.
How can you find that napper?
Was that? Oh, I know, but I know. To be honest with you, we should be able to find that. It's quite easy because it's massive, isn't it? So
I'm looking in other places.
Weeks, guys. That's been a few weeks, about a month at least, I think.
No way. Is it? Time flies.
I was hiding down in Corby a couple of weeks ago. So
how'd it go?
Oh, it was brilliant. Craig Moore, he's some guy, isn't he? He's really good laugh. He had a great time.
Charlie knows him a lot better than me.
If you say he's a good guy, then I'll believe you.
Aye. Derek, I said to Charlie, I was like, have you got any funny stories you can tell me so I can ask him? He was like, you don't got any fucking funny stories. I actually made a wee video, so at the end of the podcast, I interviewed some of the guys while I was down there, just finding out what they thought about Barry Ferguson. Do they think he's got a chance for the job? And also asked them things like their most memorable moments being a Rangers fan. So I was cracking, and as you guys know, you get well looked after down in Corby. So,
you do.
Well, he didn't get flown down though.
Charlie, absolutely. I know, bang on the money. It seems that Big Craig Moore was well looked after, a little bit better than us. But we don't mind roughing it, Will. Do you mind roughing it, Charlie? Doesn't bother me.
Nah, I love that way.
We're rough and ready. We'll go anywhere.
Cargo, right in the motor, bang down the road.
Everyone was asking for you anyway. But since we're not
on a plane, can you know?
We had a couple in the VIP lounge before it, but
but it's not the same. A VIP lounge, there you go. Didn't know about that. Well. Not that I'm jealous or not.
No, it was good. We journeyed into Birmingham, and then Big Croft picked us up for Birmingham and took us to the Bears Den. So
good stuff.
So it's looking good. So since we've not been on a few weeks, we'll probably kind of go back a couple of weeks ago because obviously Fenerbahce, the winning penalties, that was some atmosphere at Ibrox, and then obviously the Old Firm game as well. Derek,
I did say we'd win 3-1 and remember Fenerbahce.
He did.
By the way, Charlie, see when you said that night, I was thinking, no way, that's no happening. And I actually said that night, I'd have took a narrow defeat, but how well did we play? We were absolutely brilliant. The tie should have been done and dusted.
5-1 easy that night.
It was absolutely top draw. So it was. It's not often you can sit down and really enjoy a game like that.
Especially on your
they were absolutely brilliant. So they were. So well played, Charlie. Charlie's the top pundit.
Thank you very much. I think that's the first one we've got right all season. I just fancied. I fancy it's more at home than a day away from home. To be fair at the moment, but I fancy it's more away from home than I do at home.
Aye. Looks that way, doesn't it?
But we don't seem comfortable at home now. Or the last few games have been at home. But
bizarre.
I hope
it's
not
bizarre,
bad.
Isn't it? So
Frankie's away, didn't eat it, whatever it is.
Is that Doug? No.
Frankie the Doug. Come here, Frankie. Come here.
Let's see Frankie.
He just looks at me and goes, bugger off.
Who's that named after? Frankie?
My kids are, they named him.
Yeah, just the only Frank I know, it's the guy for the East End of Glasgow. Quite surprised.
Kelly Maloney. Well, that's East End of London.
Anyway, I see when it went to penalties.
Sorry,
I'm just saying. against Fenerbahce, I wasn't wanting to go to penalties after our last performance in penalties, and you were kind of worried about who was going to step up. But I think Barry said he actually let the players choose themselves.
I was quite surprised at that, but listen, he's in the door. He's getting to know them, so he thought, no, I'll give them a wee bit of responsibility. Because it was interesting, the camera panned on to Mourinho about 2 or 3 minutes to go before it was going to penalties, and he was already writing down probably who was taking the penalties. So, listen, sometimes as a manager, you've got to get a feel for what's happening, and he just probably felt that was the right way to go. Leave it up to the players, because there's no point in asking somebody, Charlie will hopefully back me up, there's no point in asking somebody to go and take a penalty if they don't fancy it. So you want the guys to step forward. So I think that was maybe in Barry's thoughts. Let the guys step up to the mark. They want to do it. They fancy it. They like the pressure. And go and listen, it was the right decision at the end of the day. So it was proven right.
Well, the players knew who was going to take the penalties, and it was great to get through. As I said, I got the result right in the first leg, and I was very sceptical at Ibrox again. I was worried. And it turned out to be that we get through in penalties. But had you gone up and taken the penalties right fit, and I know he's technically very good with both feet, I'm shouting at the television, "Here you, Dafty." Go and blast that with your left foot and just...
Charlie, see out of them all, he would be the one I'd be putting my money on, to be honest with you, and he's the one that missed. Because I think he's technically so good, so it just shows you in the moment you just never know, because it's a different type of pressure, isn't it? When you're
it was 2 great saves for Butland, obviously. So 2 great saves for the big man, and it got us through, and it was a great night for the club. And on to the next game against Bilbao, which will be very difficult, but we're there. So Frankie,
easy, Frankie. Which is pretty expensive, Ricki, to be honest with you. I know my 2 boys are gone. They'll be heading out with Barry's boy as well, Connor. So I asked them how much it is. So it's a few bob, put it that way. So again, I mean, the supporters will travel in their numbers. Where did they get the money for? And in fact, I'm wondering, where did my boys get their money for? They must be hiding it for me. So they must. It's a few bob.
Brother and Lewis's brother.
Maybe it is. Aye. That's a good shout. Maybe it is. Maybe he's sorting it.
It'll be a great trip for the boys. Fingers crossed we can get... I think if we get a point, I think if we get a draw at home, I think we can go and... I'm honestly so more comfortable away from home when we go to these places, and I feel if we get something at home, I believe we can go through. And because we seem to be so much better away from home, and you feel comfortable. They look as if they want to play, and everybody's good in the ball, and it's just so much better. But obviously Dundee on Saturday wasn't the greatest we've ever seen, but obviously we get the points. But I just feel in Europe, I feel away from home we seem so much more comfortable, you know.
I think we're better, Charlie, because we're not expected to win. So in a strange way, the pressure's off the players. Because when you go to places like Fenerbahce, we're going to Bilbao, they'll not be expected to deliver a result, a really positive result. And I think that's when this group of players at the moment, that's when they produce their best football. When they're under a wee bit of pressure, and what I mean by that is when they're expected to go and deliver, they don't. So it's and I think that's the issue and a problem. But you could see that after the game on Saturday night, that Barry's still trying to get his head round, get his mind round. So a difficult one for him. It's a group. They're a group of, I call them the weathermen. You don't know what you're getting. You know, you go for a high and then they're down to a low. So you're up and down. It's unbelievable.
I heard somebody calling them bipolar Rangers the other day.
You just don't know what's coming. You know, it can be absolute sheer brilliance, and then it's obviously very, very poor, to say the least. And you're scratching your head and you're like, how can that be? But it's just the way they are at the minute. So, listen, we just need to hopefully, out of this the two legs that they show up in because I don't think anybody does. Well, apart from us as supporters, but the outsiders looking in, they'll probably think, nah, Rangers will really struggle in that. So hopefully that plays into our hands and we produce a really positive result and get through to the next round into the semis.
We used 2-0 tempted to go.
I was. Do you know something? I was tempted to go until I spoke to Nacho Novo. So he kind of gave me a wee rundown in terms of the place. The punters will just need to be on their toes a wee bit. I think the police up in the north are a wee bit different from what they are in the south, and we know well, like kind of you go abroad, the police don't mess about, so they've just got to be careful. So, but there will be the supporters will go away. They just want to go have a few pints, enjoy themselves, and go and watch their team, and hopefully see a positive result. But he was painting a pretty dark picture. So he was the wee man. I don't know. I think he was trying to scare me off, and he has.
Brilliant. So obviously after penalties on a Thursday night, it's kind of the last thing you want to be doing before the Old Firm on the Sunday. But Charlie, what a performance!
I feel the worst. I really did feel the worst. But as I say, we're better away from home, and I think when teams are going to open up against us, then we've got a much better chance, especially away from home. But if you've seen for kick-off what we've done against Celtic, the first kick of the ball, we just put it right in the corner. We played in their half for 3.5 minutes, and that's what the goal for. All the pressure was in their half. No playing this stupid passing the ball out for the back and try to pass it through midfield and try. We were just putting the ball in the corner, keeping them under pressure, and ultimately we got the Raskin's goal for that mistake. It gives us a big lift. Then on the front foot, Selleck on the back foot, and we're pressing high. And some of the mistakes they made were great for us, but we should probably have punished them more and been maybe 3 or 4 up at half time, although we did have a great save for Butland, for Hatate, and a good clearance off the line for Big Sterling. But our chances we missed were glaring, and we have to be more ruthless in front of goal. Obviously, Cherny's 1-on-1 with the goalie, and everybody's shouting, shoot, shoot, shoot. Right, okay, now put it past him. No, don't take it around him. And we ultimately get a corner for it. But the first half I thought we played very, very good, and it was great to watch. But obviously, going to have a bit of backs to the wall in the second half when they were going to come out all guns blazing. And then at one point, they looked as if they were the only team that was maybe going to win it. But I always felt as if there was one more chance for us in the game. Unfortunately, Igamane had a great hit, great goal. We bit lucky with coming back inside, but we'll take it any day. And Scooshgate is still going on.
What do you think of that Scooshgate? I've seen that the police are saying they're not taking any further actions.
And near they should. And near they should. Come on, dry your eyes. Listen, if they went the other way, imagine Celtic scored the winning goal and it was one of their players running up a track and scushing their own supporters like kind of in jubilation. They would have been going, oh, brilliant, magic. So, listen, it is what it is. Listen, see with the adrenaline is going through your body, the excitement, everything. You've just won a game. Listen, he wasn't intentionally going up to a certain individual and scushing it in his face. He was just going full. I couldn't believe he was going full pelt or not. He was absolutely sprinting down there. So the line, but nah. Listen, common sense has prevailed with that. So listen, it could be deemed as worst, maybe a wee bit naughty, right? So, but that's it. But you've got to take into contention the amount of abuse that he was probably getting as well. For the side of the park. So. Listen, that fixture, it can be kind of, we all know, people.
It can be hostile. What? It can be hostile. We know that it can be hostile, as you say.
But Charlie, it's that reaction. You actually don't know what you're going to do when you've won a game or when you're excited like that, your teammate scores.
Oh,
it's instinct, and you just run. And he had that in his horn.
Derek, and I get that. And I believe it was, if it was a Scottish boy, I would have probably believed it was more premeditated, if you get what I mean.
There you
A
go.
Scottish boy. But
Instinctive.
foreign guy, it's why A1s who really don't know what it's about. He's only came in loan at the start of the season. He's done great at times, also not so great at times. But I thought it was funny, and I was I had a chuckle, to be honest with you.
And of course, the Celtic fans didn't find it funny, and I get that because they've just been beat. You know, they've lost a goal late on. You know, for us to go and win 3 points, so they're not going to be happy. But when there was the talk of the police and all that, come on, just get a grip of yourself. But listen, you were just spoke about. You gave us a wee kind of a wee take on how that game. I just loved the aggression that we played with, that Barry installed into them, where it was Neill and Billy as well. Tactically, you know, they were really good, but it was the aggression. We'll meet fire with fire. They didn't want to know. They were spooked, and it's just magic to see a group of players, a squad of players going to Parkhead, no curling up into a ball, but just being really aggressive and playing on the front foot. And we deserved that. Charlie, when you said that, Charlie, I felt we were going to get the winner. I don't know. And sometimes in previous games, you've thought, Celtic could sneak us. I genuinely believe we were going to nick it. And it was just a brilliant day for everyone concerned.
But the thing is, we play in their half and we're playing at the front
You
foot.
just froze.
What's that?
Oh, you still there?
No, I think we just froze there.
No, see when we play in their half, see us passing it for the back, absolutely kills me. There's a time and a place, but put them under pressure in their half. I couldn't care less if we play 5 passes at the back and then kick it up front. No, just put it into their half. And for me, it showed in the New Year's, the January game, where Celtic didn't win a second ball in midfield because Liam Kelly just put the ball into an area where we went and won second balls. And I felt the first half, that's what we done very early on. Obviously, Celtic at home are going to get back into the game, which you did. But for me, I think it was the first goal. We've got a free kick. We're 2-0 up, 47 minutes into the game. We've got a free kick in our own half, and somebody tried to play a quick free kick and kicked it out the pitch when we didn't have to try and slow the game down. Then they get the ball, they do a quick throw, and it goes back to Butland. Butland does a bad kick, and then they score for that. But we've got to be a wee bit more clever at times when we're winning 2-0 at Parkhead, for instance. And there's other times, there's got to be times in the game where we're going to get other chances. But don't rush things when you're 2-0 up. Starting early in the second half, because that's where it all came for. The whole second half started for that incident, I believe, anyway. That's where they get a goal for Button bad kick and that stupid quick free kick. But they've done well to come back.
This is the last thing about Watergate, but William Henderson saying fans should not go to a game and come home damp. So, that's the last step. What about Igamane's goal? You know, it just came on and it's a picture goal, wasn't it?
I'm not hearing you guys. Get a wee issue.
Charlie, you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
Aye. What do you think about Igamane just coming on and scoring that goal?
I can hear you, Derek.
Can't hear you.
Igamane's goal was brilliant. What a hit. Derek, here is now.
It's struggling. It's just coming in and out. So,
I can hear you.
Right. So,
anyway, Igamane's goal was a great finish, a great hit, and it was a great day for. Obviously, we're not going to win the league for it, but it was just good with our fans back in the stadium and getting the result for the guys and who'd been there for bloody 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was they were there for. It was just a great hit, great finish, and I still believe it should have been probably 4 at half time, maybe 4-1 at half time, but we would have taken 2-0 any day. But it was even better winning like that because I think they thought they were on the front foot and they were going to win the game. And Igamane comes up with that great hit. And fair dues to the coaching staff, the players. But we're still, it's a false dawn, I think, with the players are still, I'm worried. I still think that a lot of the players have to go, and I've had a few good results, don't get me wrong, but we're still not where we should be, to be honest.
Derek, I know Brendan Rodgers said at the end they missed Callum McGregor. Do you think he would have made a difference for Celtic?
I do, aye. To be honest with you, and the reason being that Celtic were getting out battled, and they were looking for leaders. I've accused us at times this season, of lacking leaders in the park, and that's what Celtic lacked. But people will argue the point because you go back to the 3-0 game where McGregor played, but I certainly think at home with your best player, and he is their best player, and he's their captain, you're going to miss him. But listen, there's been times this season where we miss important players, and it can cost you. So I genuinely do believe they did miss him. But listen, let's not take anything away from us. We were absolutely superb. The game plan was spot on, but it was that aggression that we played with, and I'll keep saying it. The aggression, it was magic, and I've not seen enough of that through the course of this season in a Rangers side. So fair play to Barry, instilling that into them.
Moving on to the weekend, just being a Rangers fan, you're thinking we're starting to get better.
Stuck again.
The first half against Dundee is probably one of the worst performances I've seen for a long time. Like what do you call him? What's his name? But the wee defender, Turkish boy.
Yilmaz.
Aye, we know your mind there. He was having a shocker in the first half, but a lot of the players are having a shocker. But how can we go for that, Charlie?
I had a race day up at Harley's in Rutherglen with one of my teams, my 2012, my 2009 team, so I didn't really get to see much of the game. So I've seen the highlights, but some of the goals were kind of shambolic. I think it was the second one that Butland should just put his cap on and it bounces off his shoulder. He ends up making a great save, but the other boy comes in and kicks it in. But it was shambles defending, and I don't believe that's the way we should be playing. We should be gone out against teams like Dundee and gone and taking the game to them, but we seem to let them come on to us for some reason. But in the end up, we did get a great result. But they did hit the post twice where you thought maybe that, and another day they one's gone inside the post. But it was good to get the 3 points. And Dessers, but I think we had 22 shots at goal, and Dessers probably had 8 of them. So we all know he's not a finished article. Unfortunately, he's 30-year-old and he never will be now. But he still popped up with a winner. But defensively, we were very poor.
There's an interesting one for Paul. He's saying, can we blame Ramadan for some of them being off it? Because they did actually stop the game, didn't they? So they could have a quick energy snack thing.
I've no idea. I've never done Ramadan. I couldn't tell you, mate. I don't know how they eat or whatever they do in Ramadan. I've not got a clue. If some of them do Ramadan, then you can make an excuse. But I've never done it, so I couldn't tell you. So I just thought it was all round poor, and we were lucky to get away with one because we did miss so many chances, but we did look vulnerable, very vulnerable at the back. And Butland again, who's obviously been our saviour at a lot of points over the last year and a half or nearly 2 years, he made a massive blunder again, and it could have cost us. But we got the result in the end. Some great strikes for Tav and Lawrence. And a great finish for Dessers at the end, probably one of his hardest ones out of the ones he missed. Here's Derek here.
It's a bit of a shocker tonight. Don't know why. I don't know if it's your end or my end. I've not got a scoop.
It's definitely your end.
Maybe it's because I'm full of radiation.
Aye.
We're up at the hospital and all that, so maybe that's what's happened.
So anyway, talk about Dundee and Saturday we were.
I know. I'm going back to what I said earlier. It's like peaks and troughs, isn't it, with the team. I'd never seen the first half. I was coming back for the St Mirren Kilmarnock game, but I was listening to it, and it didn't sound too clever. It was Ian McCall, my ex-Rangers player, that was commentating on it. So it didn't sound pretty, obviously going 2 goals behind. But it just kind of, it's a a good example of how that group are. You just don't know what you're going to get. But what we did get was a team that didn't throw the towel in, that kept going. And I think if you look back, even in it, we're not going to sit here and have a dig at Clermont, but I think if that was under Clermont, I don't think we win that game. I think you could see just that drive and determination that maybe Barry and his staff have installed into them showed in the end, because it was really frustrating, innit? It's frustrating watching it. You know, I've seen the whole second half, and it's you go for some lovely stuff, then to some poor stuff that you just can't. You wonder why. Why can that happen? So I think that's when you've seen Barry at the end of the game. You've seen him, his face, the anguish. He's trying to work it out, and it's. But I think it's something that, as a group, it quite clearly doesn't work at times. So I think there's going to need to be a kind of overhaul.
There's got to be massive changes. That's what I said earlier.
That's what it looks like, Charlie.
There's the same guys getting it. If Barry gets a job, then we wish him well or whatever. I believe he has to win a Europa League probably to get it. But there's been a change. But whoever comes in, if Barry gets it, he's got to get rid of 10 of these guys.
Easy.
It's the same guys that are getting the same manager sacked for the last few years. And we always want them to do well. We really do. But they switch off so many times. It's like coaching maybe 10-year-olds at time who switch off, who are maybe watching the party, another game at the other side of the pitch, watching that, and the guys are running past them.
Charlie, you can't coach that. That's either in you or it's no in you.
And the club are at, they can't be. You can't be switching off at vital points of the game, especially when if you're in top or if you're backs to the wall a little bit. You need everybody fighting for you and make sure you mark your man and go with a runner or whatever. But it seems as if I think we got away with one on Saturday. As you said, I don't think we'd have won it under Clermont. Barry's given them a wee bit more grit or maybe made changes at the right time or whatever. But I just don't believe that a lot of these players can be here at the end of the season. I really don't.
I think what he's installed is a wee bit of fear in them. And there's nothing, and that's fear in the right way, because you shouldn't be too relaxed under your manager. You should always be, it's just my opinion, you should always be a little bit fearful with your manager, so that when you go to play and train, you're up there. You're at it all the time. So I think he has installed that. But you can't legislate for the slackness. Charlie's saying the switching off. That's something that you have as a player. All the players at Rangers, they've all got good ability, but sometimes that thing between their ears is lacking for me at times. So, and it's a real frustration not just for us, for everybody that watches us. But we'll go back to it. But the important thing is, that's a game that we would have lost 4 months ago.
Aye. Derek, Charlie, nearly after every single game in Barry's interviews, he goes on about the character of the team, you know, how they can come back and win 4-3 against Dundee and things like that. Where do you think that character was under Clermont? I
think they've got their new manager kick, if you get where I'm coming from. And Barry's trying to keep them inside by trying to say to them, these guys are doing amazing. Because he has to keep on, because if Barry wants a job, he has to keep on winning, and that's we all know that. And he's praising them to the hill and telling them they're great and whatever. And I understand why he's doing it, because he wants them to keep on winning. We all want them to keep on winning. But I'm afraid for some of them it's too late. But Barry's getting good bit out of the guys, and the ability's there, as we all know. But as Derek said, between the years, sometimes it's not what we're expecting, because they do switch off very easily. But as I said, Barry's trying to keep everyone on his side because he wants them to play for him. Because I still believe Barry wants a job, and I don't blame him, because it's a great job. And if he wins every game from now to the end of the season, I probably said that after we'll beat Motherwell, after lose to Motherwell. I think if Barry wins every game from now to the end of the season and wins Europa League, then he gets a job. I still believe if he wins Europa League, he's got to get the job. But he's got a lot more out of him than Clermont did. maybe they were fed up listening to Clement, but that's a problem. You can't be fed up listening to a manager who's trying to take you on a journey to go and be successful at Rangers Football Club. If you don't like them, then hard lines is your manager. But players can kind of get the manager sacked much quicker now than we used to. Or we would never even have thought of that because we would have got slapped in the back of the nut. But if you don't want to go out and play for Rangers in front of 50,000 people and you can't put your foot in and you can't work hard for the team, then you shouldn't be at the club. And that is just the simple things of being a football player for any team, but especially at Rangers. You need to be able to put your foot in and work your ass off.
Yeah, it's clear to see, Ricki, he's changed a few things probably behind the scenes, maybe up at the training ground. And plus, I think, I'm pretty sure he'll be pretty vocal and aggressive in the dressing room. So I think that's why you're seeing a team that's gone right to the end, although it is frustrating because at times, we can't afford to go 2-0 down a 3-1 against better sides, or sides that are better defensively, because we'll not get back into the game. So that's where the real worry is. So, and that's where a slight bit of doubt comes in when you're thinking about the European game and you go up against better players, teams that are better organised defensively. So, listen, you can see it in his eyes. He wants that job. He wants it badly. So, and Charlie's quite right. He's got to keep the players with him because they're the guys that can affect it. There's nothing you can do. Once you've spoke to them, you've set your tactics out, you've got to rely on the boys getting you on the line. So he'll be trying his damnedest, with them in terms of he'll try everything to keep them with him to get positive results so that he can get that job.
Aye. Do I'd love to be in the dressing room at half time and see how Barry kind of comes in and if he is quite aggressive or what, because you just see them two totally different guys.
And there's times,
I don't think it'd be aggressive.
There is a time so you can't always be aggressive. You've got to pick and choose your moments with certain, and then there's certain players. This is where you've got to suss players out, and that's what they'll be doing, or he'll be doing. Or I'm pretty sure he'll be doing. You suss them out. You suss the ones that when they're slacking, you can get after. I'm pointing at used to. I'm not pointing, but you can get after a few people, And then there's some you've just got to be a wee bit careful with, But you can still get into them. You can get your point across, but there's some that you can target. That then they can maybe take it, and then it's the guys running about them. They start to get, what's happening here? So that's the art of managing.
Aye, so for instance, having a go at Tav when somebody else has probably never had a go on before, and one of the players sees, by the way, he's having a go at him. But Barry or the previous manager probably said to Tav, I'm going to target you, for instance, and say the boys will, if they see me targeting you, then they know that they can get targeted as well, for instance, and I get that. But we've got the 3 points. As I said, Barry needs to keep the players on his side, and he'll probably not target or be too angry with them too much because, as I say, he still needs them behind them. There's maybe 8 games or whatever to go to the season, and hopefully the Europa League final, fingers crossed. But Barry can only try and keep these guys on his side, as I said, and make him get as many victories from now to the end of the season as possible, and then put it on the toes of the guys who are coming in to take over the club, which is, I would imagine, is going to happen very soon. And that's all Barry can do is win the next Old Firm game. If he can do that, win the Bilbao game, and then see how we go on. But
it's quite simple, isn't it, Charlie? It's simple when you talk like that, isn't it?
It is. But that's what I believe for Barry to stay in to keep the guys on his side. He needs to be kind of looking, kind of going, by the way, I'm trying to mollycoddle some of these. I'm trying to have a go at this or a one, but he's not going to tell anyone we're shit. Excuse my language, but because he wants everybody on the same page, the same wavelength going forward, and try to get as many results as possible.
When I was doing in Corby, I was asking all the guys, if they thought Barry could be the next manager, and 95% of them were saying they were wanting maybe the next manager. But Aldo's saying, obviously if he doesn't get the job, do you think he would go on the coaching staff or even be assistant manager?
I don't. And personally, I don't see it. If I was going to get a job and Barry Ferguson was going to be my assistant, and I love Barry, and I was a manager, and I would be saying, I don't want Barry because Barry wants my job, and Barry's going to be truthful. He's going to want the job, and I don't think Barry would take a role as assistant. I just don't see it in his nature. Barry wants to be the number one, and he wants to be taking the club forward his way, no somebody else's way. It's like I wouldn't take any of a lot of people who are desperate for the job. I wouldn't take them on board with me because they're all wanting your job, and Barry's no different. Barry wants it. Barry wants it in his terms, and I don't blame him. So I don't see him staying as an assistant coach or anything like that. Definitely not.
The only scenario I could see, right, and I agree with you, Charlie, because I don't think Barry wants to play second fiddle to anybody. But there is somebody out there that I think he might work with or be alongside, and that's a certain Fenerbahce manager. I think Mourinho. I think he would need to seriously think about that. Maybe Mourinho would, if he was to come in. I don't know. It's just maybe I'm in a wee fantasy world myself, but I'm thinking he would be the one guy that I think Barry might want to work with or be beside and be assistant. But anybody else, totally agree with Charlie. Charlie's bang on the money.
Do you know, Derek, I've actually been saying for the past few weeks, I actually think it will be Mourinho. It's just been certain things things he's been saying in his interviews. And
well, Ricki, what about after the game? He goes into the home dressing room. He takes a wander through Ibrox. Do you know? And then you seen him on the park and acknowledging the Rangers fans. I actually thought he was doing a wee recce, getting a wee feel for it. He's already been at a game. He understands the passion. He understands what Rangers Football Club's about. So I think we have been in there. I think he wanted to have a wee look around, get a wee feel for it. Honestly, that's how clever he is. So who knows? I mean, that would be box office, wouldn't it?
Even before they drew Rangers, he was actually praising the Rangers fans and saying it was like one of the best stadiums in the world and things like that. You know, so
there's obviously rumours going about, but I've heard he's going to get it and whatever, this and that. But we never know. We don't know the guys coming in. We don't know where they're going to go. They always seem to go kind of German, American coaches for their clubs. Is Mourinho the kind of right fit for them? These guys who don't really get confrontation, I would say, with a lot of their coaches because they control the narrative all the time and they tell them how they want their system to be, how they're going to bring players in, how we're going to sell them on. For me, the only way Mourinho comes in is if they give him 40 million to spend and a few players or more. But I understand what you're saying. I would like to think that if Mourinho was getting in and they offered Barry and Mourinho wanted Barry to be on his coaching staff, that Barry could learn for the best that way. I don't see that being a bad thing, as you say. I think probably Barry would have to go, right, by the way, I get where you're coming from. I need to learn for one of the best of all time. So I can take that on board. But let's see what happens. There's lots of things are going to happen before the end of the season on and off the pitch.
I love some of the comments that are coming in. This sounds like a taxi driver chat. William Henderson. My pal is one of Rangers' biggest sponsors, and he told me the new guys have asked Mourinho, but will he take the reduction in wages?
I don't think Mourinho needs the money, does he? He's got fortunes anyway, and he could probably live happily ever after if he didn't even take a Rangers job and just go and live in Portugal and the rest of his life. But he loves winning. He wants to be. He always wants to be successful. So, and then probably for me, I still don't believe he's managed a bigger club than us. I really don't. Well, Man United, obviously, with the worldwide things like that, but I still believe Rangers would be the biggest and probably the most pressure that he's ever going to have under as a coach. But who knows? Who knows what will happen? But things have
money's to. Money's God. Money's not the. That will not be the motivation. I think the motivation, if he was to come, he's had a wee look at Rangers. He'll see what Rangers is all about, and he might just fancy that.
I believe it could. I believe it could be that way, especially with these new guys coming in. the new owners. He might get a run of the club, which
Aye.
he kind of wants. But who knows? Who knows? And it would probably be a good shout for Barry, as if he does come in, then I would understand the idea of Barry going, right, okay, I'm going to learn for this guy, and then he takes over in maybe a couple of years' time or whatever. So, but for me, I don't see it happening. I believe there'll probably be a German and an Austrian guy coming in and taking errors, or maybe an American guy through the way Red Bull, this company, they work, and we'll see what happens. But hopefully it's going to be a fun time where we're going to be able to be strong footing, and we're going to go forward properly this time.
I'll just do a quick few comments on social because we're running out of time. Angus Stuart Mackay, evening guys, just wondering what's your thoughts on dropping Butland for Saturday. I can appreciate he's a good keeper, but he looks all over the place at the moment.
I know, big Angus.
Sorry, Charlie. Listen, it typifies what we've been talking about. We're so inconsistent as a group of players, and he's been inconsistent as a keeper. So again, it was like, listen, that was bread and butter. I don't know, even though the guys were closing him down, he's got to just gather that in. But it's typical about Butland, isn't it? You know, sometimes you'll go back to the Fenerbahce game, the penalties, he was brilliant. Then you go to a Motherwell game where he was all over the place. You don't know what you're getting. So that's an issue, and it's a problem. So it is what it is, and we just don't know. Who knows the answer? But Kelly, I think out of the two, I think Butland's a better keeper, but he's just a wee bit too inconsistent for me.
Well, that's where we talk about being a goalkeeper for Rangers Football Club. And Andy, there was not a goalkeeper better ever that played for Rangers in my eyes than Andy Gorham after his first couple of months, than learning just to watch the game and then have to make a hero save. McGregor was no far behind, and great goalies who.
But you knew what you were getting, Charlie. That consistency.
100%.
They wouldn't make mistakes like that. I know.
Yeah. And once they did, you thought, that's very unlike them. But it didn't happen within another 8 months, if you get where I'm coming from. But they're allowed to make one, but no as regular as Butland has this season. For probably the cup final last season to now, he's probably made 6 or 7 clangers. He's had some great saves and some. He's kept us in games and things like that, definitely. But he's a goalkeeper, so that's what he's there for, is to make saves, big saves. But he has made a few clangers for me. For the cup final last season to this season, there's been probably 6 or 7 mistakes that you could probably say that by word.
I think a lot of times the defenders are passing it onto his weak foot and putting him under pressure as well.
Just catch your bloody ball.
You can't do that if you're passing it back,
but he's. But a lot of his mistakes, there was one mistake, and it was a Europa League game where he was caught that he's just got to kick it. A lot of them haven't been for pass backs to either side of his feet. It's been simple. He does at the goalie or a cross ball. He's trying to punch and things like that. So no, I'm not giving you that one, Ricki. No.
Listen, Ricki, he's not the best for his feet, right? But that is a good point, because that's what I keep saying about players thinking. They know he's maybe no great on his weaker side, so why are you playing it to his weaker side? So that's up to the player. That's up to the players to identify that, to know that, right? Big Jack's no maybe that he's not the cleverest on that side, so I'm going to give it the other side, and I'm going to give him a nice way to pass. You know?
Derek, Ricki, what is his good side?
Well, I don't know. You tell me, but he will have a strong side. Yes, the players train with him day in, day out, so they should know that, Charlie. And this is the thing. Sorry, this is something that I keep saying. Players have got to use this between their ears and think that and identify that. They just look after themselves far too much and say, all right, I'm under a wee bit of pressure, I just fire it back. No, think about the way to pass. Think about putting it on ease, whether it's his strongest fit or not. So wee things like that matter.
No, 100%, and I get that, but my thing is, I don't know what is his strong side, because he seems very comfortable, and I don't think he's bad with the ball back to his feet. I really don't.
I don't think he's great. I
think
know.
he's decent with the ball. I think he's good with the football at his feet. It's when he's passing it out for the back that annoys me. I think the Celtic game, obviously, I think he hits it with his right foot and they scored for that resulting bad kick. But I think it looks more comfortable on his left side. I think he probably is left-footed, to be fair. But I think he's decent on both sides. But my problem with him has been his lack of concentration with like a Saturday's stupid wee header that he should catch. I think he's already thinking about where he's going to throw the ball, or when he's done the punch the one into the goal against Motherwell, or he's come out when he didn't have to come out against Motherwell, where the boys just toe poked it past him. If he stands in his line, he picks it up. There's been this Motherwell game at home where he should be able to fling his hat in that one, and that's simple. But I still believe he's the best goalkeeper, even though I like Liam Kelly. He's a great kid. He was there when I was at Rangers. He was a good kid and a good goalkeeper. But I prefer Kelly because he doesn't fuck up. Excuse me. He doesn't mess about at the back. He doesn't mess about at the back. He just puts the ball in an area. Let's go and win a second balls.
You swear there. He doesn't fill me with confidence with the ball at his feet. There you go. That's simple as for me, Butland.
Right, well, I'm afraid we've run out of time, but like I said at the start, I managed to film some of the guys down in Corby, and interviewed them and asked them what they thought about Barry, who's their most favourite player and their most memorable moment in being a Rangers fan. So I'll play that now, and you can stay or you can go if you want, guys. All right, because it's on for about 5 minutes. So this was done at the Corby Rangers Club a couple of weeks ago with Craig Moore. I managed to catch up with some of the guys, but once again, thank you to all our sponsors, and we will be back next Tuesday. But I'll play this video now, and take care, and hopefully we get a win.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Sam Forsyth, back in the day, he was my first one that I loved.
I don't know. Brian Laudrup, I would say, because I grew up. That was when I was going to games every week. Brian Laudrup was playing one of my idols, George Alberts, and one of my unsung ones was Eric Bo Anderson, because scored 2 goals against Celtic in one game, and I remember being behind the goal with one of my mates, and it was absolutely brilliant. But
I always liked Big Durante. Like Ian Durant, I thought he was an excellent player. And I was at the game, I think against Aberdeen at the time. I was still up in Scotland. And most horrendous accent. I don't know whether it was pure Aberdeen and Rangers was always a bit of a clash. And it was just a crunch. I felt it happened at the far end of the pitch, and I just felt as if I heard his legs snap. And the whole place went quiet. It was an awful tackle. And I would have said that was and big Jimmy Baxter.
I'd love him to be, but I've got my doubts. I'd hate him to lose his respect that he had if things went downhill. Another Ollie at the wheel from Man United. He was a legend. He just disappeared then. Same with Ali. Ali was a lot of people lost respect for Ali, which is unfair.
on the last 2 performances, Celtic and Fenerbahce, I would say he's bringing back the heart and the soul of the club that we've been missing. Yes, I would say. At this moment in time, yes. Right.
There's a possibility, Fergie. If he keeps getting the results that we really need, it's a bit late in the day. We're starting to pick up, so fingers crossed.
I don't know. I don't know where we go from here, because we've tried everything. We've tried the foreign managers. We've tried. Why not Barry? I don't know. Something in me says Barry's got it. I don't know what it is. Beating Celtic and beating Fenerbahce, there's something to me that Barry's got it, I think. But they bring the winning mentality to the team. They bring the winning mentality to each one of them. Billy Dodds knows what it is to play for Rangers. Alan McGregor Don't need to speak about that. We know what it is. You know what I mean? They've all got it.
Dortmund. I was actually on the pictured on the TNT Sports, me and my pal, waiting for that VAR to give us a goal that Morella scored, and it was homed in on me.
I always loved going away on Stuart Daniels' buses away to Europe, but my most memorable game would be Aberdeen at Ibrox with Gazza scored his hat-trick. That's my best game.
I don't think they've a patch on them for the past. Some great footballers I had in the past. I still support them. Win, lose or draw. I love football. My whole fucking house is decorated with Rangers.
The heart and the passion to play and know what it is to play the Rangers. Our average journeys, well, for Fenerbahce game took me 7 hours to get to Glasgow. Because I got a new electric car. But on the average, a Saturday morning, we would leave Corby maybe 5:30, 6 o'clock, arrive in Glasgow at, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we'd go straight home after the game and not arrive back in Corby till midnight.
Contact me on Facebook. I've sent messages out to all the local ones, Northampton, Peterborough, Derby, London. They're all welcome. This is just one big family.
Brought to you by our sponsors. The JR Group. Plugged in Business Solutions. DB Dental Care. Reflex Blue. The Right Software. Dev Provider. And Avia Signs. Our chosen charity partner is the Second Chance Project. We are now official agents for the Rangers Lotto. Find out more at www.allaboutthegers.co.uk.